You're back with your girls, Meesa and Meah from You Already Know. It's M&M Live Radio. Now, as most of you all know, we just wrapped up February here on the show where we have a new male guest each week all month long in the month of February. Now, by us being a female-driven show, we wanted to make sure the fellas were represented very well. Now, we just touched down on March motivation on the show, and by it being International Women's Month, we felt that we needed to take the time to allow some dope women we know to show up and show out. So, throughout the month of March, y'all, we're going to have some of the greatest women we know on the show. And right now, we have our first special guest of the month in studio right here, right now.
That's right, Meesa. From managing the careers of talented individuals to creating show-stopping events, it goes without saying that this woman affects people, the music industry, and the culture around her. She's a curator, innovator, and an overall businesswoman with brains, impact, and influence that is unquestionable.
Yes.
The E is for excellent, and this exceptional individual is live in studio with us right now. We want to welcome the one, the only Erinn Knight to the show. What's going on, E?
I really need y'all to write my bio or any intro when I'm doing a panel. I was doing a panel last week and I was struggling to put together words for what I do just in a quick elevator pitch. That was crazy.
E, listen, we got you.
You send that to me?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I got you. Listen,
you deserve every word.
How you feeling, E?
I'm feeling great.
Listen, when we're thinking of women to have on this show, you were the first person we thought of. And listen, we're so happy because Erinn is our first in-studio guest since us doing podcasting. So listen, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us at M&M Live Radio.
Lots of wins right now.
Of course.
Wins.
Seriously.
Big wins.
Now we got to talk a little bit and give you guys a little backstory on when we met E. I want to say it was 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Maybe two? Maybe about 2 or so.
Two, probably.
But regardless, we were going to an
May
event.
2018.
2018, right? So it was about 2 years ago. We went to Derek Miner's, shout out to Derek, Trap Sessions event, listening party to be exact. And I remember being there, seeing a lot of people that we know in the industry, seeing a lot of fans that were there. And I remember seeing this one woman just running all over the place, just being all over the place. She was on the mic, she was off the mic, she was talking to the DJ, she was welcoming us, she was doing things over here, doing things over there. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, she got to be somebody important. Right. She's got to be somebody important. And I remember sitting there, of course, engaging ourselves in the actual event. And then afterwards, we ran into a mutual friend of ours, the Baron Hughes, DJ 412. And he was like, yo, you got to meet this. You have to meet this, one of my friends. And I want for her to get a chance to meet you guys because I really feel like y'all as women, y'all being dope at what you do, you guys got to just collab on some things or just get to know each other in the field that we're in. And it's the moment he was like, Eminem, this is Erinn, this is M&M. It was at that moment, we just had this synergy and connection.
Instantly clicked.
But literally, I feel like at that moment, we just chopped it up. We got a chance to know each other a whole lot. And literally, the rest have been history. We've been supporting each other ever since. But E is literally the definition of being a boss. A boss. And she literally does so much in her own business, in the music industry as well. But I feel like only you can give us the best description of what you do and how you do it.
Killed it.
Seriously, E, you wear so many hats in the field, but I want for everyone to get to know who you really are and tell everybody how long you've been doing it, everything that Erinn is.
Dang, I was just really enjoying listening to y'all talk, so pressure. Something funny too about us meeting the first time, I don't super remember what went down. I remember meeting y'all, and then I don't remember until we were in May and y'all were hosting my show. I legit, I don't
remember what we talked about.
So bless God that I was cool, because sometimes I'll be in stressful situations and I'll smile, but I feel like I'm not fully myself when I'm having a conversation. In those moments, and granted it was over and it wasn't stressful, but when I'm working, sometimes I'm I don't know what I just said, or not that I'm gonna say anything wild, but I'm glad that it wasn't a bad first impression, or oh, she clearly was preoccupied, because that's how people always feel about me. I'm preoccupied. Yeah, because I am.
I don't know. You juggle it so well. Yeah. You literally were able to stop to do what you were doing, meet us, get a chance to actually remember who we were,
and then went right back to doing what you were doing.
Only bosses do that. Only bosses do
that.
But I really want for you to be able to tell us what it is that you do?
I'd like to say like I'm a bridge builder. I think that's what my calling in life is. It just so happens to look like the music industry right now. So I think I'm like building bridges from like what people do to what they want to do, or like building bridges like to people's destiny, or like whatever that sounds like to people's like future, you know. So I feel like I'm the bridge builder. I'm making sure everything's secure, make sure it makes sense. So in my life right now, I manage multiple artists. I creatively consult for an artist and his team, and like just help them like create things. I do consulting, like management consulting. Like everybody's like, yo, can you manage me? Can you manage me? Years ago, and I was like, no, I don't have the time or the energy, and I also don't super like your music. But then I started realizing that I had just like tools and tricks that were helpful for any artist on any level. So I started a consulting company called Manage Me. So you can hire me to kind of like tell you what a manager should be doing, but you got to execute it. So that's the difference. Like, I'm not going to execute anything for you. I'm not going to be calling and shooting the emails. I'm not going to strategize as much with you, but I'm going to be like, here's some ideas. Let's talk about this. You come up with a strategy, and I'm going to shoot holes in it so we can make this better. Or I'm going to come alongside you and be like, this is a great idea. Let's do X, Y, and Z. So, so I do that, and then I also produce shows and events. I own a booking agency now, so my agency produces tours. I think that's it.
Sheesh.
And it's so funny how she just says this. So like, I have an agency, and I consult with brands.
Casually.
And I tour all over the world, and I do this, and I'm like, listen, like,
you
go off.
I'm a tour manager. I actually still really love tour managing. I feel like this will probably be my last year on the road as much as I am, because I took a break from it and I went back heavy last year. I was on the road for 8 months last year, which was crazy. So this year I'll probably do 5 or 6 months. And I'm really looking forward to it, but in the future, really looking forward to like training tour managers and only going out on spot dates or a handful of tours. But I love tour managing because it's like you really get to take care of your people. You get to see what's going on in the trenches. You get to meet the fans. You get to figure out what works and what doesn't. So I really love tour managing.
So listen, we told y'all this woman wears so many hats and she does so much. But listen, we gotta talk about the Erinn Affect really quick. So for those who don't know, let people know what the Erinn Affect is and what inspired it.
So the Erinn Affect, I've been doing shows for several years, more so around just putting artists on the show, not necessarily my own artists, but I wanted to start doing. So I started out putting my own artists on the show when I was kind of transitioning out of rock music, like the rock world, managing in that world. I wanted to understand hip-hop a little bit because I knew I was about to start managing a hip-hop artist. I had already started working with him a little bit. So I started throwing a regular series monthly. It was like every other month in hip-hop. And so, dang, I feel like I don't remember the question. This was going somewhere really fast.
What inspired the Erinn Affect?
Yes, okay. So I was doing shows regularly, but I didn't have anything to show for it. I wasn't on Instagram, whatever. So I just throw up, like, this artist will be here on this day, RSVP at this link. And I had a friend who was like, you should brand your shows. And I had never heard about that because I wasn't big in the promotion world. And he was like, this is the name of my promotions company when I do shows. And he was an artist. He didn't just do it under his artist name. So I was like, well, I'm just doing it to help people out. He was like, it doesn't matter. You need to brand it. And so I was doing a lot of like just creative stuff at that point. And I had a friend who was throwing a concert, and she was like, yo, can we meet with you and get to know like some best practices for throwing a show, whatever. So I met with her and her brother, who was her business partner, and we had like a 15-minute meeting. And so after they asked me all their questions, I was like, is that it? And they were like, yeah, sorry, we didn't mean to waste your time. I'm like, no, it's cool. And they were like, we literally had 30 questions and you answered them in 15 minutes. Wow. And she was like, that's incredible. She's like, I'm very grateful. I'm like, cool. She's like, it's like the Erinn Affect. Like when you walk into a room, or if I have questions or I need to understand something, I feel like you really just, like when you're there, I feel way better. And I was like, dope. And she was walking away and I was like, man, I was like, would you mind if I took that name, the Erinn Affect? She was like, it's yours. And I was like, okay, bet. So I just sat on it for a couple months, and Effect is spelled with an E, but I love tea and I'm all about the aesthetics and the art of it. So like I was just like, we'll do TEA. So Affect. I want to be effective, even though grammatically it's effect, but whatever. Like it's art, you know what I'm saying? And so, so that's how I came up with the name. So it's like, originally was the umbrella that I was doing all of my creative stuff under. So shows, I was thinking about branding it as my management company, but it just branched into like being shows and events. And then I had to start a second booking agency because it's kind of a slight conflict of interest for me to manage and book my artists. So it's no longer under the Erinn Affect. It's all under invite only, which I have partners in, which is how it becomes no longer a conflict of interest. So so that's how the Erinn Affect started, just a random meeting with a friend about a show.
Okay. So I love that we're kind of like at the beginning of where everything kind of got started for the Erinn Affect. But since we're already at the beginning, how did you get your start in putting on your own events and your own shows?
So starting like 2012, I was managing a band, and they were playing shows. They had gotten a couple of their own shows, and then I started managing them. And I started realizing that they would have to wait until a friend would put them on a show. So every time we got on a show, I would talk to the venue and be like, hey, how could we do a show here? And they're like, well, you guys actually sold pretty well. Like, y'all sold 30 tickets for a local band. That's good. And they'd be like, here's the venue promoters information, like email them back, let them know what date you want to, give them 2 months, let them know what date you want, whatever. So I did that once, and then I told the guys, like, cool, let's put 3 or 4 of your friends on the show and make everybody sell 10 or 15 tickets. Okay. So we started doing that, and the show started going off. Like, nothing crazy, but like 78 to 80 people on like a Thursday night is really good for a local band. So we started doing that, and then we just, because we're in Atlanta, rappers started pulling up to our shows. They'd be like, yo, I'm trying to get a show at this venue. How'd you do it? And again, I'm running around, so people are like, she knows something. She's doing something. So I just started having people be like, yo, can you get me on a show? So I'd be like, bet. I would email the venue for them, get them a date, and then hit them back and be like, hey, like, go pick up your tickets, whatever. I do the whole thing, set it all up. They'd sell the tickets, and they'd be like, I got you on the door. So I'd come for free. So I first started doing, I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like, I helped them put on this show. Then I started being like, yo, this room is full. Like, I told them what to do. I'm like, yo, this is how you sell more tickets, whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I got a free ticket and everybody else is getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So I started even thinking like either the venue's going to pay me like for being the liaison, because I started doing it for a lot of people in multiple different venues, or the artists are going to pay me. So then I just started telling artists like, and this is something I knew, like the venues would give me like a night for like $125, $150. If you come as an artist, this is some years ago too, it's definitely not that cheap anymore. If you come as an artist, it's usually double, if not close to triple that.
Okay.
So what I started doing was telling the artists like, well, if you normally come, this venue's $400. With my discount, you're gonna get it for $300. But my discount was really $125. So I'd get my immediate upfront money, and then I would help them promote the show. And I'd be like, if you make over, once you break even on the door, then I'm gonna get a percentage of tickets. So at first, I usually was just doing it just for the upfront money, the extra $125, which was crazy to me because I wasn't making anything. And then I started doing it for the upfront money plus a percentage. And then it started coming to where people would be like, yo, can you just book me versus me doing all the work? And I'm like, sure, but I'm gonna take 30% of all your tickets. And I thought people were gonna freak, and they'd be like, bet. And I started realizing I want to do this work. This is fun for me. Like, I call the venue, we get a date, I help get the flyer done, but most artists are just like, I just want to perform. And I'm like, man, you're missing out on a golden opportunity to make money. And if I throw it, like now, if I throw a show, I'll take 70 and give you 30, I'll pay you up front. And people are like, bet, I got paid $400 to do this show. And I'm like, I got paid $1,400 to do this show. But like a lot of people don't have the upfront bread, which I used to not have. But now, and I used to work, so that would help me pay for my shows. But like I got the upfront bread, so like that alone will stop people. So me fronting their money ups my percentage, and then me being like, I think you can sell this many tickets, and I know I can sell more. So it's just like I'm making the bread. So I don't know. It's like that's how I got started. So
listen, man, she started off making bread. I'm really trying to figure out where is like the beginning stages.
That's the beginning.
No. But it is. But I really feel like deeper. The more we're going to talk, we're going to have Erinn's going to stick around during the show. We're really going to get a chance to really dive in where you first started, even like your most recent event that just happened, Trap Sushi. But listen, guys, we got Erinn Knight in studio hanging with your girl. She's gonna stick around like we said. Now listen, we're gonna take a really quick break where we're gonna play some music, and as Erinn said before, she manages a lot of artists, but also the artists that we also play here on M&M Live Radio. So we wanted to ask her, she manages the artists, just recently got signed to Def Jam, Caleb Mitchell.
Yes.
So we want to ask you, Eve. So we asked her what was her favorite song she wanted us to play here on M&M Live Radio, and she said "Fool" by Caleb Mitchell. Now, why is that song one of your favorites?
I just remember when he sent it to me. Not all of my artists will send me like unfinished songs, but Caleb's my first hip hop artist. We've been together for years,
right?
So he's okay with bearing his soul to me, and me possibly being like, I don't really like that. So, but we have like a really good relationship. So he sent it to me, and it was like maybe the first or second mix, which is still really good with him. It didn't have all the instruments and stuff, and I remember I hit play and I just got chills everywhere, like all up my spine. And I was like, yo, this is different. And I played that song about 100 times over the course of the next 3 days. It was the only song I listened to.
I love that.
So,
when you're so into a song, you just play it over and over.
And I'm an obsessive listener anyways. Like I've been listening to Justin Bieber and Caleb's new project back to back like for 2 weeks now, or since it dropped on Valentine's.
Right. Yeah.
2 weeks. So I'm obsessive anyways, but this was different because usually I'll obsess for a day, run some stuff in, obsess for a day, run some. This was literally, I played nothing for 3 days straight. And back then I drove a lot for my job. So it was like, yeah, that's when I knew this is before it was mixed and all that. So this song, phenomenal.
Listen, phenomenal, she says. So listen right here, right now. Here is "Fool" by Caleb Mitchell. We got Erinn Knight in studio, and we'll be right back. You're listening to, you already know,
it's M&M Live Radio.